Welcome to another episode of Follow the Brand TV. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal brand and business development company. I want to take you on a journey through another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal stories, business conversations, and tips to improve your brand. By listening to the Follow the Brand TV series, you will differentiate yourself from the competition and build trust with prospective clients and employers. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it one that will set you apart, build confidence, and reflect who you are. Building your 5-star personal brand is a great way to improve your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaugh@5starbdm.com. Now, let's begin with our next episode on the Follow the Brand TV.
Five-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
Hi, Grant.
Hello. Good morning, Mary. How are you doing?
I am amazing. Surprised, as you saw, but I am amazing, King. How are you?
No, man, I am doing just well. We're going to also have another special guest who's going to join us.
Oh, yay.
So, Mr. Ean Mikale, he is backstage. He's going to join us. He is a genius when it comes to new technologies.
Yeah.
He's been doing this for a number of years, but he has an very interesting story. And we're going to get into that story. And I ran into him earlier this year when we did a joint venture with the HIMSS organization. If you don't know what HIMSS is the largest health informatics management, I think it's Health Information Management System Society. It's about 113,000 members. I'm the program chair in South Florida, and we feature programs that are helping our healthcare society to be more productive for healthcare delivery. So we did a piece on robotics process automation. I got to get my acronyms together. It's RPA, robotic process automation. But he has a school that he does in Infinite 8 industries. He has patents that he has with the U.S. Department of Patents. He also works with Yale University on different initiatives and innovations. He actually has technology in which he can detect if you have COVID or not just through the lens of a camera. Just like now, if I were looking at you, he has a AI, artificial intelligence, that can detect if you have the virus or not. This is phenomenal technology. So if he's ready, we'll bring him up, and then we will start our fireside chat. We're going to talk about the opportunity of Black business in the metaverse and what we can do to grow as a people. As this is a global reset, we have an opportunity for the first time in probably hundreds of years that we are at the same starting point as a lot of other cultures when it comes to what we can achieve through this new technology. So,
well, sounds like an amazing fireside chat. I will definitely be sitting back and watching and learning. And so, Grant, genius is common. See you on the other side.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So as Ian gets ready, I want everybody to know that the opportunity that exists now in the metaverse is vast because we're starting to work with infinite potential.
Ah.
And I'm saying that because Ian is with Infinite 8 Industries, so it's infinite, that type of thing. But that's just what we're doing. We're starting to work with cosmic energies, and not just when you think cosmic energies, right? A lot of people think in the terms of outside of our Earth, right? With the sun, the planets, the universe, and as we see now with this new telescope they have out, there's many, 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 many universes, just vast. But look at the universe within yourself, the inner universe. That same cosmic is within you. People realize the creativity, I'm going to call it the manifestation just of a bumblebee, right?
Yeah.
The orchestration
Yes.
and design and beauty and construction that our universe that I just described earlier can fit into the eye of a bee. That's a beautiful thing.
That is amazing.
It is. It's divine, right? When we start to tap into that kind of creativity, that kind of innovation when it comes to what we can do with energy, space, time, and matter, we're just children, on this small little planet in which our higher power is like, I want you to see what the potential is. I want you to understand what you're about to embark on a great journey.
I have a question, Grant, for you, especially with you saying that. You're absolutely right. We are embarking on an amazing journey with the metaverse. So do you see the metaverse as being co-created and built responsibly by our people?
That's the opportunity, right?
Yeah.
This is where humanity has to face itself. I'm going to talk about first all of humanity, not just the Black population, meaning look at what we've created physically so far. And I'm talking about on the negative side, the discord, the war, the poverty, blatant greed, and that type of thing. That's created a chaotic environment. Do we want to bring all of that now closer together in a virtual world? Or are we going to be a little bit more refined in our opportunity to express ourselves?
Right.
And this is where I talked early, even with another gentleman by the name of Christopher Lafayette. We've been using lately, I would say, in the scientific era. There's different eras that mankind has gone through as far as eras. We're in what I call in a scientific era, that we really believe more in science than we do in our archaic religions and cultures and whatnot. If science comes out and says, hey, this is it, then that is truth. That is a fact, right? But that is geared to the analytical parts of ourself, the bits and bytes and some of the visible things that we can manifest through time and space, right? Yeah. But the opportunities in the creative side of our minds is even more vast. This is where you get into the artistic side of yourself. When I talked about earlier about how the vastness of our universe can be, contained in the eye of a bee, that is enormous opportunity. But with great power comes great responsibility.
Absolutely.
Right? Otherwise, we can, create more of a destructive environment than something that is more of a platform for greater opportunity and experience. So with that said,
yes,
let's welcome Ian McHale.
Absolutely. Welcome, Ian. How are you?
Well, thank you. Thank you guys for having me. If you guys don't mind me joining you guys on this lovely Saturday morning.
No, we are excited to have you here. Real quick, Ian McHale is a social entrepreneur, inventor, author, and founder of Infinite 8 Institute, a globally recognized consulting firm based in Omaha, Nebraska. He regularly provides market evaluations for global expert networks with clientele including Big 3 consulting firms, Fortune 100 firms, venture capital groups, and others. Ian currently co-facilitates healthcare-related coursework at MIT, I'm sorry, on robotics and digital transformation in partnership with Emeritus. Guys, I'm gonna go ahead and let you have it. Genius is indeed common, and I'll see you guys on the other side.
All right. Thank you, Mary.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Ian McHale.
Good morning, Mr. McGaugh. How are you?
I am fine because I get to join the stage with my brother from another mother in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm often, asked this question, like, are there actually Black people in Omaha, Nebraska? I brought proof today. I brought proof. Yes, I did.
Yes, yes.
What they didn't say, what she didn't say is that you have a storied life, storied past. I mean, we got to talk. You were on my podcast recently. I talked about when you were helped me with the HIMSS briefing that we had on robotic process automation. But you've been on a stage as a speaker since you were a young child. Just talk a little bit about your past and how you got to this point of being a technologist.
So great, great entry point. So from my background, I did grow up in deep poverty. I did witness my father killed in a domestic violence incident with my mother. And after that, my mother had sickle cell anemia. And so I dealt with that from a healthcare standpoint. Also, my sister is disabled from a brain injury due to a car accident as well. And actually, she was in a machine. She was in a car, right? A car's machine, right? And she was actually in. It was. Oh man, it was a. It wasn't a Pontiac. It was like an Ion. Like I can't remember. It's a car company that's defunct now. And when I went back and I looked up what happened with the car company, they started getting sloppy with their process automation towards the end of their life. And as a result, her airbag didn't deploy. And so a lot of what we're talking about really hits close to home for me because, for example, with me dealing with trauma due to my experiences seeing violence as a child, now creating AI that can recognize depression or anxiety and suicidal thoughts and suicidal behaviors, that really comes from my background and really trying to address many of the traumas that our people face, throughout the globe. And in addition to that, really also because of my mother's disability with sickle cell anemia and my sister's brain injury, I also always had a different perspective as far as creating technologies that benefit everyone, because I saw the perspective of individuals who are disabled and how much of the world is not created for them. And then you gain an idea of how the world can change, similar to how many people saw during COVID that the world could change with the snap of a finger. And I think that's what's really dangerous about this new generation that's coming up with this technology, is that they saw during COVID that you really can change the country and the trajectory of a society at the drop of a hat if you want to, right? And so I think because they saw that, they saw what we never saw coming up, previous generations, I think that's really going to make them dangerous. As far as artificial intelligence and the metaverse and Web3, I really want to take the opportunity to put those all in a bucket so people can understand what these technologies are and how they're beneficial to the culture.
We got to demystify these terms because they put these big wrappers around things, right? especially like I explained, like my grandchild. She said, "Well, artificial intelligence. What do you mean?" I said, "Think about voicemail. Voicemail talk to you, and voicemail's been around for what, I don't know, 20 years, 30 years, and then you hear this electronic voice saying you have a message, or press 1 or press 2. That's artificial intelligence. Been around for a long period of time, but is now more refined and more powerful. So let's go ahead and let you give us some more context around these technologies.
Absolutely. So the first time that I came in contact with artificial intelligence was about 2016, and I was working with IBM, Infinite 8. Our company was at that time a participant of the IBM Global Entrepreneur Program for cloud-based startups. And we had an opportunity to work with IBM's Watson supercomputer and artificial intelligence that's named after the founder of IBM. And essentially with Watson, I was just enthralled and very intrigued to utilize it. For some reason, I was drawn to it. And I ended up being the first person that trained IBM's Watson to recognize human intelligence, right? Or human emotional intelligence. And so being able to train Watson to recognize human emotions, from my point of view, was necessary in order to allow machines to be able to connect in a familiar way with humanity, because all humans have emotions. That's really a universal language, is emotion. And so if machines are able to understand and comprehend and truly protect humanity and be a benefit to humanity, then they have to understand the universal human language of emotion. And so that's how we got involved in that. AI truly is like a child that you just, depending upon what type of modality you're using, whether you're using computer vision, whether you're using speech to text, algorithms, etc., you train it like a child. So if I want you to understand a particular language, you're going to study that language for years, right? In the field of artificial intelligence, we take that studying, the training of a pupil, of a student, we take that that concept and we train the artificial intelligence just like we would train a student or a child, and we turn years and a lifetime of learning into sometimes days or hours, using powerful supercomputers that allow the artificial intelligence to learn rapidly in a way that humans just could not.
Now, you stated to me that the average, let's say a smart human being, very intelligent, has an IQ of 150. And you had stated that your Forever AI that you've created, your own artificial intelligence, has a IQ of 10,000. Am I right?
That is correct. On average, you have these AI systems that are taking years of expertise and experience, and it's combining it into one object, one subject, right? And so, for example, if we took, there's an infographic that we did not too long ago concerning our technology. And what we did was, because our technology can, for example, screen for Alzheimer's, autism, the common cold and flu, etc. So you have all these different diseases that it can look at. And in order for that similar type of service to be provided to a patient, you'd have to have like 10 physicians in a room at the same time, right? And it would cost over $1,000 an hour to get that same service, that same level of service, right, from human beings. And it would be very difficult, if not impossible, to get all those physicians in the room at the same time. And so that's the type of opportunity and the type of technology that artificial intelligence brings to the table. If you have 10 different physicians, right, that are doing 10 different things, and you add the IQ of all those physicians, then now you're looking at about an IQ of about 10,000 or more, right?
Well, let me ask you this, Ian, because this is what I'm impressed about you. We're part of the Genius is Common movement, right? They're one of our sponsors. Very
Awesome.
good. That genius is common within everyone. Yeah, and I put you on the genius category because you're telling me that you yourself, you're the father of this AI, this super intelligence. You are the father of that. Walk us through how you did not have formal certifications and education. You didn't go to MIT, but yet these kinds of schools are seeking you out. You're telling us that you're programming the IBM Watson computer. Walk us through your genius.
Absolutely. So while I didn't go to MIT, I will say that I did go to the prestigious Howard University. And so, I will have to shout out my alma mater and all those other business persons that went to HBCUs as well. And so, yes, it's interesting. When I went to Howard University, to be honest, the entrepreneurial curriculum that I got there was a half-hour boot camp on entrepreneurship. And when I was first there, I also was actually in the School of Business. I was going into international business, which I'm in today, but I took a completely alternate route. And I believe that the reason why I took this alternate route and I didn't stay in the School of Business at Howard, and I went more of the political science route, etc., because political science is a very optimistic field, right? Until you get to law school, right? With my Juris Doctorate degree. And so you can change the world until you get to law school and you realize that you have a concept called precedence, and you can't change that. You kind of have to just push it forward, right? So that's one aspect. Also, while I was at Howard, I did not take any type of technical courses, right? And so they really didn't push computer science, making apps and things of that nature. Actually, Facebook just came out while I was in college. I think I had some colleagues that forced me to get on the platform around my sophomore year. And so the whole concept of being the startup founder, dropping out of college, starting a company, bootstrapping, making millions of dollars, that wasn't anything that was readily apparent to me or really any of my colleagues. Really, our institution, what Howard University really was doing, was preparing us for Fortune 500 roles, right? And they weren't really preparing us to create new Fortune 500 companies. And so that's something where I kind of had to get out there on my own. But it was probably around 2015, and I was really looking at creating software applications for drones. We had started training individuals with drone technology, and I had purchased a drone that you could develop software on. It was an open source drone. And so I was enamored by the technology, and I wanted to know how this drone could fly and how it could do so autonomously, right? So this drone, you could program it to run missions, to do different things like that. And I wanted to know what was behind this technology. If I use a cell phone, I want to know how the cell phone works. Most of us use cell phones and we never ask, what is the technology? What is the magic that actually makes this work? And how is it that I can actually become a part of that? How can I make my own ideas accessible to individuals all over the world through this portal, right? Called a smartphone. And so we essentially were able to find and discover the technology behind your Siri, AI, behind your smart speakers, things of this nature, and it was this artificial intelligence. Now, during that period of time from 2015 on, we also were doing a lot of research and development in other cutting edge areas such as the Web3 space. Now, the Web3 space is split up into two different camps. You have the camp that focuses on the metaverse, right, and virtual worlds, and then you have the camp that focuses on blockchain technology and decentralization, which allows for ideas, for intellectual property, for assets on the internet to be distributed amongst many users, as opposed to just being centralized through one particular organization. And on the metaverse side, we're really just talking about the next version of the internet, as the current Web 2 version is two-dimensional. The next version of the internet is going to be three-dimensional, allowing for more immersion from virtual spaces and events and virtual commerce, in addition to integrating the cryptocurrencies and the blockchain technology that we've seen take off in the world of NFTs and Bitcoin and Ethereum and things of that nature. And so it's very important that all stakeholders and clearly individuals across the diaspora have a stake. And now's the time of the reinventing of the internet and global communications and global economies. And so it's extremely important that everyone is able to create these new virtual experiences and these new virtual worlds. And so our people come from many different tribes that did business, right, with one another, and did international business with merchants that were traveling from Europe, South America, going to far east like India and other parts of Asia. And so commerce is in our blood and it's in our history. And so now that the world is changing and the world is merging between the physical and the digital, we must be present in both the physical and the digital. But also we must not only be present, we must be creators and not only consumers of content in these digital worlds. We have the opportunity to actually create our own experiences, to integrate our own culture, our own sets of belief, to directly and head on address biases through our presence and through our participation in these areas such as the metaverse, blockchain technology, and artificial intelligence. And I currently sit on the oversight group for the Metaverse Standards Forum that's currently creating global standards for the metaverse. I also sit on a group through the Healthcare Standards Institute that's determining US standards, so national standards for blockchain in healthcare, right? How cryptocurrencies or how tokens can be utilized in the medical field, such as to pay patients for medical information. And so there's all kinds of opportunities, but I think it's very important for Black businesses all over the world to not be on the butt end of this revolutionary technology, but to be on the forefront of it and to double down to learn it. And one of the most important things that I can say is that we must understand the infrastructure of this technology, which runs on graphical processing units, or GPUs, the same technology that our kids are utilizing to play PlayStation, Fortnite, all these different games that have become popularized. Also, it's the same technology we look at when we go to the movie theater and we look at a Pixar movie. That Pixar movie, those powerful graphics are running on GPUs, graphical processing units. And so this is the infrastructure underlying it. I found out, I asked, what is IBM's Watson running on? right? I said, I want to know what they're running on. And I found out that it was running on graphical processing units, right? So these graphics processing units, these are what is essentially running and computing all of this information and all of this data. But in addition to that, you have blockchain technology that is running essentially on a distributed supercomputer. What they've done with blockchain technology is they've tied together individual laptops and PCs from all over the world and created a global supercomputer that can process transactions and can process any type of computation. And so on this global supercomputer, you hear of people making dApps, short for decentralized autonomous or decentralized applications. Also, you have DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, which are the next version of corporations that are being run autonomously through certain things called smart contracts that automate the process of doing business, right? Grant, if you wanted to buy a widget from me, we could create a smart contract that automates that process to where we can be asleep and we can be doing business with each other, making money. And we basically are having bots that are doing transactions between each other on our behalf. And so when we truly talk about innovation and we talk about the opportunity to do more with less, right now the universe is free, or the multiverse is free, right? The metaverse is free. The omniverse, right? These different areas are free. So we can create these different worlds when in the physical world, if we wanted to create a new corporation, we have to pay certain fees, right? In the real world, you still are taxed in certain capacities. Also, you have to pay for real estate, right? We have to pay for a lease, things of that nature. In the metaverse, this is all free. It's all free. The most difficult thing that you have to do is to learn the languages that the metaverse or that this blockchain technology or that the artificial intelligence is built in. And I'm going to give you guys that secret. So artificial intelligence, if you want to go to Spain, right, you have to learn to speak Spanish, right? If you want to enjoy your time there. If you want to go to the metaverse, you're going to have to learn to speak languages such as Python or C++, right, that are building the underlying infrastructure of the metaverse. If you want to conduct transactions and do business in cryptocurrencies or tokens, you're going to have to learn the language of Solidity, right? That's the language of the Ethereum blockchain and protocol that allows you to create your own cryptocurrencies as well as to deploy your own NFTs and to utilize blockchain technology within any of your applications. And so all of this technology is extremely important in order to allow for our companies to be able to compete and to take part in Industry 4.0 and this new era of technological achievement and accomplishment. It's truly time for the information to become ubiquitous amongst the diaspora, so that the diaspora has the opportunity to create their own destiny in Web 3.0, as opposed to just waking up one day and the internet is there and you just have to use it, but you don't understand anything about it. You haven't seen what it actually runs on. You don't understand the languages that actually make it operate and functional. And so all these other people are able to enjoy in the wealth and the fruits of this technology, while we, on the other hand, oftentimes are subjugated to it and we're just consumers of it, but we don't have any ownership in it. And in order for us to truly create intergenerational wealth, we have to have ownership in our creative expressions, and we just can't consume the creative expressions of others.
You just said it. And I love that, especially on the Black Business Expo USA, the Black Business Olympics, how we're going to compete in this new world. We've got to educate ourselves. You've got to re-engineer certain things, ask questions. There are a lot of Black technologists. They're just separated. My job is to bring them together. Our job is to bring them together, educate. There's different schools that are being built because these technologies have been, the codes and the languages have been around for a while. But we have to have we have to be proactive in understanding this. Now, when I say that, think about this. When the internet first started out, I think it was like 1995, you had to have a dial-up modem or something like that. And when you got into it, it's very archaic, moved very slowly. It wasn't a lot of commerce in it. There was a lot of chatter about what it can do. And then it kind of like the light bulbs went off, and you had the .com boom, right? People like, oh, wow, this is a new way of conducting business. And they didn't have a lot of policies and laws how this was going to work. E-commerce was in its infancy. It's almost insane to give somebody your credit card over a computer. People were like very resistant to that until it got more and more secure. And then now it's commonplace. It's not a big deal. This is happening in this metaverse world, the world of virtual spaces, because our industry in commerce on a global level is changing. So now we are not limited. We will not be limited by borders. But on the same time, it's a time window. There's a window of time in which that's happening. Right now, as we speak, believe me, there are policies that are going to be made by our current governments to try to rein in some of these freedoms that are out there right now. People love blockchain and the things that Web 3.0 bring to the forefront because of its freedom of creativity. But there's a window for that. And the more that we rush into that window, not just the US, but the world, the entire diaspora, we have more control and say so. I love the fact that you're sitting on these boards. That's just where the policies are made. And you want your voice at these tables. We need to let our senior executives and people that have great influence understand this technology. It's not just in the IT department any longer. This technology is like breathing air. We all must consume it and know how it functions. So I truly appreciate you letting us know the importance of that, Ian, for sure. And so we're going to ask another question. And you kind of alluded to some of those things about what do we need to do to prepare ourselves? What strategies we need to deploy? Things that we need to do on our own. Now, you have an Infinite 8 university, right, in which you're teaching some of these technologies. Can you talk about that?
Yes, I did see in the comments that we did have a question concerning the standards for the metaverse. So I can kind of talk about the educational component after that. And really they kind of go hand in hand. But for the metaverse, the objective of these standards are to create continuity across different organizations that are building in the metaverse. And so right now, it's too early to say really what these standards are going to be. There's a lot of different ideas out there regarding, what these standards are going to entail. I can tell you that as far as privacy, things of that nature, and security, I mean, that's going to take precedence in the metaverse as well. However, outside of that, it's nothing. I can say it's nothing like what you would think about in the real world. And so the metaverse, people are very much more idealistic when they have conversations about what the metaverse and what it can be, because it's like if we all got together in a group and we said, the world is starting over at zero. What do we want to do? What society do we want to create? That's where the metaverse is. Where civilization is back at zero, right? So what civilization do you create? I mean, that has profound implications. In reality, or in the metaverse, right? You can actually create your own world that runs by your own rules, that has your own currency. And so our organization does have experience building in the metaverse. Our organization also has experience deploying cryptocurrencies. We have a number of tokens that we've deployed as well that we utilize in our own ecosystem. And so as a result, it's very important, and for the diaspora to engage, they have to know the regulations. That's where we start, right? So we talk about, well, how can we start? You know, what's tangible? So for example, with the metaverse, you can go and you can join the metaverse forum, right? Your organization can go and you can join. And right now it currently has over 1,000 participants. And if you are a primary member, then you have voting rights, of which Infinite A is. Also, from that standpoint, we are currently creating standards for the healthcare sector and blockchain technology. These are groups that, if you have expertise in that particular area or sector, then contact me. There's opportunities to engage in that. Our organization also worked with IEEE when we went to Munich in about 2019 in Germany to help on a working group to create global standards for self-driving cars as well. And so our organization is at an intersection between all of these different technologies. And we are unique in our expertise because we understand how they all work together and how they all play together. And we also understand all the vulnerabilities of these different technologies as well, which is extremely important. And so our agency, we specialize in cutting edge technology, research and development, as well as training. And so we don't only want to utilize these technologies for commercial gain, but we also only want to work with technologies that are going to have a benefit ultimately on the culture and society. If it's something that is going to be more harmful than beneficial, then that's a decision that we have to make internally, that we're not going to release this particular technology to the public. And the issue within Black culture globally is that we don't have enough developers. We don't have enough engineers. We don't have enough people that we can reach out to that can actually build a website, or that can create an application, or like the woman or the lady in the chat discussed, as far as wanting to create her own cryptocurrency, right? And so because we can't mint our own money, and you have all of these other people just running around minting money like crazy in this new $1 trillion industry, we're locked out, right? We're locked out. And so knowledge is truly power, but technical knowledge is even more powerful, right? And so we have to train our young people to learn these technologies, because they're not going to learn them in school. They have to learn a computer programming language alongside a foreign language, right? We want them to learn Spanish, but we don't want them to learn C++ or Python, right? We want them to get a good job, you know, speaking multiple languages, etc. But we don't think about how beneficial knowing multiple programming languages can be, right? And it also expands your mind and creates all these different neural connections, you know, when you do speak these different languages. And so I can personally say that it is creative freedom. Having been a person that I've been programming for 6 years now. Normally it takes about 4 years for you to be able to program something that does something useful, right? After 2 years, you can create programs. After 4 years, you can really create programs that do something special. After that, you really become a wizard, so to say, in your own industry. And so there needs to be more women of color for example, that are also in the industry as well. And so there's all kinds of opportunities across the board for the diaspora to take part and to be at the forefront of Web 3.0, as opposed to being on the back end of the technology revolution.
Well, I tell you, Ian, this has been phenomenal. I see Mary is back, so we're going to conclude. But before they do, let the audience know how to get in contact with you and about the school. Just give us a minute to talk about that, and then we'll go to Mary.
So for our school, you can find us in the Metaverse. But outside of that, you can visit us at www.infinite8institute.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn at Ian McHale, and I'd be more than happy to chat and work with your organization in order to get you guys ready for Web3.
Wonderful.
Amazing. Thank you both so much for an amazing fireside chat. Guys, Grant McGaugh, Ian McHale, we will see you both on the other side. Jeans is coming.
All right. Thank you, guys. Think that, as Grant said, I think entrepreneurship is definitely the most important aspect, because if we're creating things and we're not creating things that we can benefit off of, or that our children can benefit off of, or that our communities can benefit off of, then what is the point of existence, right? If we can't manifest things that are ultimately going to make our lives better as well as those around us. And entrepreneurship at its core is ownership. And without ownership, without owning and being able to turn your creations into assets, then we're really just behind the ball. And so it's my hope that that I can inspire young people, as well as those that may be mid-career and those that may be at the end of their career, to actually think about the field of technology and to think about the opportunities that exist, the low barriers to entry. All you need is a laptop and an internet connection to get in the game. And so hopefully, my experience can be encouraging to others, that you don't have to have, all these credentials, etc., to really produce and to surpass those that may actually have credentials as well.
Follow the Brand TV broadcast host, Grant McGaugh, as he visits with top executives and entrepreneurs to find out their secrets of success with their personal brand. Follow the Brand TV broadcast host as he focuses on brand development to build better relationships, bring value to your business, relationships, and career. You will enjoy listening to each episode that is tailored to speak to you directly. If you're looking for this type of clarity in terms of building your brand, you have tuned into the right station. Each episode will help you to shape a conversation in the 5-star BDM network of 20,000 professionals and become a springboard for your corporate engagement and business opportunities. Each guest will frame their story in the areas of personal branding, business development, career development, financial empowerment, and technology innovation. Grant McGaugh explains why he is the CEO and owner of his own professional career. Grant is an accomplished business leader and entrepreneur who wants to give back to individuals to grow their personal brand strategy. Tune in as he weaves his story about new possibilities, while to you exceed expectations. questions. If you love storytelling, this show will make for fun.
Hey everyone, it's Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM and host of the award-winning Follow the Brand podcast and TV series, where I help you to build a 5-star brand that people will follow. My genius is personal brand development through intelligent communication and helping you achieve your business and career goals. I am a requested speaker on digital technology and brand development issues. I want to work with you to increase the value of your current opportunities while attracting new ones. Every one of you is unique, and we all share challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. As a superconnector, I work with you as an executive coach to guide you along the complicated business and career development road, providing the enhancement tools and information you need to succeed. Together, I will help you succeed in today's challenging business climate. I will evaluate and measure your progress. Best of all, I am right alongside you every step of the way. Build the brand called you. Genius.